Hi, my name is Magdalena. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be duping the new Natasha Denona ROXA palette with my indie singles. I do think this is a really beautiful palette. I am probably not going to buy it. I don't see myself buying it. It's just too expensive for something that I don't think is either unique or worthwhile for my collection. But I do really enjoy it. I'm glad to see this kind of color story. I love this kind of color story. I do love my Natasha Denona retro palette. I liked the pastel and the glam. I just didn't use them, so I got rid of them, which is part of why I'm not going to buy this. I know I won't use a palette like this. I've recently done a big declutter. I'm not bringing anything new in that I won't 100% use. Anyway, that's enough of me rambling. Let's get started. The first shade in the palette is Dixie, which is described as a crystal sparkling warm pink with blue and purple specks. I chose Calicari from Pretties for Your Face. This definitely isn't a perfect dupe, but I think it hits the same kind of vibe. Plus, it's absolutely one of my favorites. I only recently got it and I'm obsessed with it, so I'm happy to put it in any palette right now. The next shade is Jacaranda, which is described as a matte medium dark violet. And for it, I chose Dandelion Serenity. Next is Flutter, which is described as a sparkling wet effect lilac pink. For this one, I chose Crown Flash by Shine by SD in collaboration with Seeking Shifts. This one, again, is not a great dupe. Despite being called a, sparkly wet topper shade, the swatches make it look like it has quite a lot of base. I didn't really have anything that had a strong, warm pink base like the swatches showed, so I just picked something that was kind of within the same family but much more sheer. Next is Phoebe, which is described as a matte light lilac. And for it, I chose ColourPop Friendly. Next is the shade Regal, which is described as a metallic vintage rose. And I chose Valentine Baby from Pretties for Your Face. Next up is Eclipse, which is described as a matte deep purple. And for it, I chose Dandelion Spiked. Next is Stargirl, which is described as a sparkling foiled duochrome pink with a bronze champagne shift. And I chose Shine by SD Palm Angel for this one. I think this is a pretty good dupe. When I was looking at swatches, I wasn't totally sure if it was an iridescent or not. Sometimes it looked like it had a bit of a base, sometimes it didn't. This one does have just a little bit of a champagne base, so I thought it would work perfect. Next up is Bolt, which they describe as a sparkling foiled graphic designed violet and silver. I assume graphic designed is the fancy way of saying that it's a marbled shadow, but they can't just say marbled shadow because that's like too pedestrian or something. And I chose Cleona Scuba from the Deep Sea Treasures palette. The next shade is Heather, which is described as a matte medium dusty coral rose. And for this one, I chose ColourPop Poodle. The next shade is Cerise, which is described as a medium deep muted fuchsia. I assume they mean fuchsia, and to be honest, that's not the first typo I've seen here. This is on their website, not Sephora or anything like that. This is a luxury makeup brand, a $100 palette, that couldn't even bother to do a basic editing of their description. Really makes it feel like it's going to be a high quality item that had a lot of quality control put into it. Anyways, for this one, I chose Dandelion Sanguine. Up next is Sweet Pea, which is described as a matte, light, medium, warm lilac. And appropriately, I chose Dandelion's Sweet Pea. I swear I didn't intend that, it just wound up being the perfect shade. Next is Concord, which is described as a sparkling foiled medium violet. For this one, I chose Divina Runts. Now, obviously, this isn't a perfect dupe, as this is a multi-chrome, but from straight on, I think it's pretty close, and I'm definitely not going to complain if I get to have some fun shifts as well. Next is Velour, which is described as a matte medium lilac. For this one, I chose Dandelion Spirit. I do think this might be a little bit more purple, but it's pretty similar. Next is Brink, which is described as a sparkling foiled pink. For this one, I wound up choosing Shine by SD and Seeking Shifts Diatreme. Now, this is definitely not a dupe. I just kind of chose something that I thought had a similar vibe to it. This shade has a really coppery, bronzy base, and I don't have anything like that. So I thought this, because it had that kind of warmer flip, and then it has a little bit of a brown in the base, it might be something kind of similar. It's certainly not a dupe though. It's just the closest I could think of. And lastly is Orchid, which is described as a matte medium purple. And for this one, I chose Divina Virgo, which I honestly suspect I am mispronouncing, so I am terribly sorry about that. And if anyone knows how to pronounce it, please let me know in the comments. Alright, so that's it. I definitely don't think I'll be buying this palette. First off, I kind of question the quality after the level of typos on their description, and the undertones are clearly too warm for me, especially because Natasha Denona is pretty well known for having very edited photos that make things look a lot more cool toned or a lot more interesting than they are. I am happy to see some more color. I know that people who like the brand have been really looking for that, so I think that's exciting, and I do think I'll enjoy playing with this palette I've put together, but yeah, I don't think it's for me. How about you? Do you like it? Do you think it's something that you'd be interested in? Are you gonna dupe it? Are you gonna buy it? What do you think? As always, thanks for swatching. Bye!